You have cancer are very scary words. Your child has cancer are even scarier. Our guests today, Trey and Kim Bowman, lost their daughter Bella to childhood cancer. They found too that when one family member walks through cancer, the whole family walks through treatments and months of separation and being away from home and illness, and it can be devastating. But you're going to learn today how when you come across someone that you know that may be facing this, or perhaps you yourself will, what they have learned that may be helpful to others. Welcome back to Life on Purpose TV. Today we have Trey and Kim Bowman, who have experienced a horrible tragedy, the loss of their daughter Bella. She was diagnosed with cancer at 7. She passed away at 8. They have been able to take that horrible situation and turn it into something they can help others with. But first, we're going to let Kim introduce us to Bella.
Well, so thank you. And Bella was our firstborn child, and she always was really small. We always had some medical concerns with her throughout her whole life. And when she was 7, she was really, for about 7 or 8 months, really getting sick a lot. But we never really had the answers. On New Year's Day, Bella had an MRI, and that's when we found the brain tumor. So even though it wasn't the answer we wanted to have, it was an answer. It wasn't something.
At least you knew something.
We knew something. It was like, okay, finally we have an answer. What do we do now? It was definitely hard to hear, but we were prepared. We had our guards on. We were ready to go. So she had brain surgery, and it was very successful. And she was walking on day 3. It was unbelievable. It was just such an answered prayer to everything that we wanted. So after that, we headed to St. Jude, and it was time to get her radiation because that was going to help it not come back. Right. So we were just following the plans of all these amazing doctors and just putting our trust.
Home and back and forth.
Home and back. And we were pretty much gone most of the year from January to May. And then we had a wonderful summer. At the end of the summer, we noticed that she started to have some slurring, and our first reaction was the brain tumor's back. And we just decided that, talking to her doctor, he said, head up here. We left that next morning, went back to St. Jude in Memphis, and they did another scan of her brain, and he sat us down, and I'll never forget that day, and he just said, yeah, she has necrosis, brainstem necrosis. And I was like, okay, and what's that?
On too. Well,
okay, what is it? What's next?
Literally,
I never imagined to be like, oh God, what does that mean? Like, it was like, okay, what's next? Okay, what do we take a medicine? Do we give her more steroids? Is there a surgery? Like, what do we do next? We're ready. And he was just kind of like, it's not, we don't really know what can stop it, and we can't surgically remove it. And so he did have some options, which I thought to myself, okay, well, we still have options. He has not said, we have hope, our prayers keep getting answered, like God's not giving up on us. He gave us 2 options that were possible. It was experimental. Still didn't know if that was going to work. And so we just started working on it. She did, and I say we because you go through it as a family, but Bella went through over 60 hyperbaric oxygen treatments. And then when that wasn't really working, we decided to try the second option, which was a chemo.
You knew in that moment, you had your mother, you had yourself, and you had Baylor. And you turned to your mama and you said, we're going home.
We were walking back from the doctor, and we were supposed to stay for another treatment. And I just looked at her and I said, that gut feeling came back in. I just said, it's time to go home. Bella wants to be home for Christmas. It's time to go home.
Trey was in Sweden. Were you in Sweden?
Yep.
How hard was it for you to be told, come home?
Yeah, well, it was a challenge because, of course, I wanted to be there to make that happen with them. But we knew that we had a plan either way, and they were ready to get home, and I completely understood and respected and was ready to get home to them.
We were mostly at St. Jude while Trey, he was off interviewing with jobs because I didn't work at the time, And Trey had gotten laid off with his job a month before she got diagnosed, which was a godsend because he was able to be with us a lot of the times. Bella was so excited. There was two things she wanted to do. She wanted to go home to be with her dog and spend Christmas at home, and she wanted to not do any more math or homework ever again. So I did. I told her. I said, you will never have to do school again. And I said, let's go home. And so we went home. And on the way home, I noticed her choking more on the way home, and it scared me. And so I called the St. Jude affiliate in Baton Rouge, and I said, we're coming. We haven't seen you guys for a long time, but we're coming.
We are on our way.
And she said, come on. And we went straight to the ER. We were there for maybe 2 nights, and her oxygen level started to drop. And so the nurse comes in and says, we are gonna have to put Bella on a ventilator. So whatever you want to say to her, say it now. And she may not come out of it, and you need to call Trey in Sweden and let her talk to him and hear her sweet voice, because we may never hear it again. But I still didn't think this was the end. So I just did what I was supposed to do, and I got that courage and strength that Bella taught me, and we called Trey, and it was about 3 a.m. in the morning, and he talked to her and heard her voice, and he said, I'm coming home. They put her on the ventilator, and before they did that, I said, you have to be strong, and I want you to make sure that you give me your thumbs up when you come out of this. As soon as they did that, I walked back there, and she was really loopy, and she put her thumbs up, and she had her eyes open. It was the most amazing feeling to know that she's gonna be okay, because she's made it through everything. Everything she did was wonderful, and she was such a rule follower. And once we did that, Trey came in after 24 hours of travel. She could have jumped out of that bed if she could. I mean, if she could have, she would have jumped out of the bed when she saw him. But as she slept there, we both looked at each other and said, you know, we don't want to resuscitate. And it was crazy. We hadn't talked in over 24 hours, but we both were saying the exact same thing at the same time. And we just prayed. We sat there and prayed and knew that it was the right decision. She was so strong, stronger than we will ever be.
But her strength so lives on in both of you as you honor her memory and all these other families that are going through similar events. And we appreciate so much the authenticity that you have shared with us. I know this is a difficult story, but there's one part you've got to add, Trey, that Bella left for you, that's something you both carry in your hearts every day. What's that one thing that you will never forget, seared into your mind, that she left?
One that really stands out is that, you know, Bella's, her passion for Mother Mary was really difficult for us to comprehend it, because she wasn't raised in a Catholic environment. It wasn't until she actually took her last breath that this really became transparent to us that, you know, Bella had developed some paralysis. So part of her face or her jaw would not, and her arms the one side of her body was basically paralyzed. But as soon as she had taken her last breath,
in your arms.
Yes, and in my arms, and we were able to have a couple of the family members come visit bedside. Sister Wynn, who was someone to this day is quite passionate about Bella, who had just met her over that 10-day period, and still swears to this day that Bella's her saint. We called her, and it was just Kim and I that were in the room, and I had tried to get her little mouth to shut, but it wouldn't shut, because it was just the way that she had left us. And so I was trying to move the bed, I was trying to adjust her, I was trying to put a towel behind her head just to get her little mouth to shut, because I knew people were going to come in and see her. And Sister Wynn came in, and it was just the three of us. And Sister Wynn knew how much Bella loved the Hail Mary. And so Sister Wynn prayed, and we all prayed, we held hands, and Sister said the Lord's Prayer. And then next thing you know, we open our eyes from prayer, and Bella's mouth is shut, and she's smiling.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty heroic.
And we knew at that moment that she's where she wanted to be.
She taught us, and these are kind of our 4 motto words that the foundation lives by: courage, belief, faith, and strength. Some of the words that were written even in her obituary was that she gave us so much courage, belief, faith, and strength, and then yet today we turn a foundation with her name and creation of her honor, and these are the 4 motto words that we survive by. And you know, it's really our duty, whether it be a smile on a face, to pass that on to a sick child, or to be able to be a sounding board for a family member, be it a mom or dad or any type of member of their family, to help them walk through a journey of being told that your child has cancer or your child is sick. We've been there, and we can hopefully steer and guide them in the right direction, and through one, if not all 4 of those words of courage, belief, faith, and strength.
So we wrote a book. One thing that helped Bella through her radiation treatments was a book, a story, a child's book about radiation. And because it's so hard to explain some things, difficult times, especially when a child gets diagnosed with cancer, they don't really understand it. And so we wrote a book, Bella and the Redbird, and it's a sweet story about how to have courage, belief, faith, and strength. And we have been able to donate those to children who get newly diagnosed, and we're also getting them into the schools so friends kind of understand what their friends are going through. And so that's been one way that we've been able to help the community or educate the community.
It's a lot of passion, it's a lot of self-drive, but we put a lot of smiles on a lot of sick children's faces.
Let's talk about how you do that, because it's really amazing with the comfort care bags, the no more chemo parties or no mo chemo parties. You've been there, so you can talk to that mama, you can talk to that daddy, you can talk to that family. But y'all, you do such a great job. Talk about putting smiles on the faces.
It's amazing. And you know, we go and I bring princesses and superheroes to the hospital to go room to room to visit children. You know, we give out iPads to cancer patients, and that has been tremendous to get the message from a parent in tears saying, you know, we could have never afforded this. And we're human, we do question God and everything, but it just makes everything make sense, and to know that we are making a difference in people's lives, and we're helping them, carrying them through a really hard time.
At each Bella Ball, you bring up a child. And it's a very celebratory event because they've achieved a milestone in their treatment or their illness. And so how wonderful is that, to be able to stand there and say, help us bless this child.
We do an honoree at Bella's Ball and Bella's Royal Celebration because we want to just encourage these children, to let them know how proud we are of them and how that they've helped us see how we can have that courage, belief, faith, and strength. And so it's so rewarding. We have an amazing team that help us.
Without our volunteers, we wouldn't be here.
And you have so many people.
We do, and so much support, and we are just so grateful for all of it. And we just can't wait to see what the future holds. I think it's going to be amazing things to come.
While it's a tough story to hear, we hear it every day. Trey and Kim, they're doing so many great things to help people that are facing what they have faced. How about no more chemo parties? How about hero birthday parties? How about care packages for people who find themselves suddenly in a hospital? If you want to get involved in the ministry of the Bella Bowman Foundation, go to lifeonpurpose.tv and let's all help those families that hear those scary words.